Westeros.
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners, coming in hot with Arya 1 on A Storm of Swords. Before we get into it all, I just want to thank a brand new group of subscribers coming in this week and some fresh comments. So just a reminder again, join our Discord channel if you want to interact with us on the daily. Like, subscribe, comment on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. But here we are on Arya 1. Gents, what are you thinking?
Kyle hasn't been too impressed with the first two chapters. What do you think about this one?
This one was pretty good. I mean, there's a little edge of your seat the whole time. We got a cool reveal at the end. I did, and I wanted to, and I'm glad it didn't happen in this one. I guess I texted you guys before I read because I was worried something was going to happen in this one, but I guess we got more time. Obviously, there's days and days and days away from River Run, but
you never know when it's going to pick up, right? Like a lot of times, like 2 weeks will skip between like the last Arya chapter. And then here, it seemed to be like literally picking up immediately after.
Yeah, it was right outside the wall, exactly. Also, it kind of helps to have like a week to let things sit in as well. It's
So what you had texted us was that you had thought, you like, hey, before I read this, I want to get a prediction in that I don't think I said last week.
It's just kind of along the cat stuff, I guess. It was just said.
Yeah, Arya is going to River Run. She's going to get there and Kat's going to be like, fuck, I released Jaime for nothing because I already got Arya.
Not for nothing, because Sansa's still there. But like, yeah, her position is weaker or whatever. Like, she's trading somebody. She could have got somebody else out, or you know,
if Kat would have done nothing, potentially half of what she wanted would have just happened. Already, because Arya's working for it.
Yeah, and then Kat's gonna feel dumb, and then maybe they try and get Brienne back, but she thinks it's just people trying to hunt them. You know, like it could lead into this whole stuff, and that's always the problem, I guess, with making some of these big predictions is knowing where to stop them, because like so many things have to happen exactly. Yeah. Like, so it's
almost impossible to be right. Which is fun for us to listen to it.
So with the Kat stuff, like I want to talk about the timeline, because like it's
timeline
weird.
Doesn't matter. It's
weird, right? Because so let's talk about literally in the last Arya chapter, which should have been like yesterday for Arya, right?
Mm-hmm.
She killed these people at nighttime.
I mean, it's the same day almost? Probably it was.
No, it's yesterday. It was overnight. They went out.
This is like a 2-day chapter, so yeah. So like it picks
I'm
up.
Thinking
at
it was like midnight.
Yeah, the day before that nighttime, Roose Bolton got a letter about something that like made like all the Freys mad, and then they left.
Right.
So is that, I'm guessing, and they got news about Robb, I think, like doing something in the Westerlands. So that's the same news that Kat got with Vyman. Vyman came into Kat and was like, hey, Robb did something in the West, got hurt, right? So I'm thinking this is about the same time. My point is, we didn't hear anything about Jaime escaping in that letter. Whatever we heard in that letter from Arya in the last Arya chapter, nothing with Jaime.
Well,
but in the last Kat chapter, Edmure sent letters to Harrenhal about Jaime, 3 of them. And Arya hasn't heard that. But
he had just come back. Edmure happened at the end of that Cat chapter. So that'd be like in the middle of this chapter that the Ravens would have went out.
I guess what I'm saying is, why do you think the chapters are happening at the same time?
Are or aren't?
Just circumstantial. I think it's circumstantial.
You're saying those Ravens would have been...
uncircumstantial.
When?
Which Raven? There's 2 sets of Ravens.
Yeah, so they would have been learning about... I guess what I'm saying is some people think that if there was anybody... So we know that there was people sent out because at the end of the chapter, there's a wolf attack where they kill some people that were coming from Harrenhal. Some people in the fandom have said, like, oh, those people weren't actually chasing Arya. They were being sent out for Jaime.
Yeah, and Brienne?
I'm like, I don't think that makes sense timeline-wise.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't.
I thought you were saying maybe it does.
No. So what I'm saying just is that if you're saying those 2 letters, with news of Robb are matching, right?
I'm not sure. That's what my guess.
So they don't show up exactly on the same day, right? That's one thing, I guess.
Harrenhal might be a day later. Again, it doesn't. Yeah. I'm not trying to get like to the day. I guess this is about the same time, though, right?
But I guess what I'm saying though is if those news happened at the same time, then it would make sense that news of Jaime hasn't gotten to Harrenhal yet.
I guess that's right.
Because that's fresh as well.
What if? But maybe I'm wrong.
That's even fresher.
Maybe that news isn't the same. I don't know.
This is what I think. If I could just throw it out there. Rob sent letters to River Run about what happened in the West, right? He took the injury. Does he know that Bolton's even at Harrenhal yet? So
to that point, does Rob send the letter directly to Harrenhal? Probably not. Harrenhal might be hearing it from River Run.
So River Run has to send it. Cat hears that news, and then there's like a day, right? Or some time.
Yeah, a day or two before Edmure comes back.
So
again, I'm not trying to get it nailed down to the day, but this is like pretty close to the Jaime escape.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
I'm just trying to get it nailed down because literally the characters are going the opposite direction, right? Jaime's trying to go pretty much directly down the river that Arya is trying to get to and go upriver to. So
yeah, no, I think it's a good point for sure. I think it's probably in between. I think they happen in between, you know.
And I guess depending, it doesn't super matter, but I guess depending on how close and exactly when everything happens, these people that are being sent out could be being sent after Jaime.
It's possible. I don't know if we'll find out. I don't know if the wolf pack will tell us who they were.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever find out. But
before we get into this one too, I just want to say like these first couple chapters have been like they've been quick and easy reads, which I like. But there's just like no substance, and this is just like the first chapter of every book is like, oh, and the previously on chapters stink.
Yeah, she definitely did that. Where she's like, hey, she had stolen a map and a dagger from this room.
To be honest, I don't think I think this chapter is only 8-9 pages. I think 7.5 are like pretty stupid.
Yeah,
it's all previously on shit.
Yeah, Cal said it was like, okay, I think you're being generous. I think this is another kind of boring one. The ending, I think, is sick. Like the last half page is dope, but most of it is like, I guess there is a little bit edge of your seat, and there's some cool stuff that I want to point out. Like obviously, that we'll point out as we go.
I mean, I guess to Kyle's point, like he doesn't know if she's gonna get. Kyle didn't know if she was gonna get like hawked down. If this was like an actual chase scene, where we know that it wasn't going to be a chase scene. Yeah. And it was just because
if we think about it, it is. She even says at one point, like, I'm a 10-year-old girl, like a 10-year-old girl with two people who ride worse than a 10-year-old girl are being chased by actual like
horsemen.
Horsemen.
Cavalry men.
They really don't stand a chance, probably, if it's not for what happens at the end. So
yeah.
And what was I gonna say? It's kind of a Danny chapter, you know. Like we had a bunch of these little girl rides
like
horse
riding across the desert
straight, for a while.
Oh, should we cross this river? Oh, there's a burned down village. Maybe we shouldn't go into it. Yeah. All right, so we're heading north away from Harrenhal.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. She pulls out the old moss on the tree trick, which I think has been debunked. I'm not the best wildman here, but I don't think it's
okay. Well, that's also incorrect information. And at least on Earth, it's the north side of the tree. At least in America as well. I don't know if the equator matters or not.
Oh, I thought it was just like, I mean, because Gendry at the end is like, look at this tree. It's covered the whole 3/4 of it. Like, how can you tell?
It's not perfect.
I didn't think it was right.
And what you need to do is you need to look at a bunch of trees, right? So like Gendry said,
you gotta take an average.
Some of them has it, some of it doesn't. Sometimes it's in a weird spot. But
yeah, I don't know the first thing about it. I could find Jupiter pretty well in the sky. I can't even really find the North Star, so I would be I would go for high ground. That's the only key. Go for high ground.
Just follow the comet, man. Just follow the comet.
Wait, Kyle, I don't know more about the moss. Is the reason it's different in the different hemispheres because of the rotation of the Earth?
I don't know if it's different. I didn't want to give that advice.
Well, I love my wild science speculation.
All right,
it's
got to be because the rotation of the Earth, right?
Well, the angle of the Earth and the rotation,
or the magnetic pole.
I'm not saying the magnetic.
Does moss grow on the shaded side of a tree, or
moss might be magnetic? Is the thing.
Probably not, but okay. One of our subscribers, if you'd like to give us some insight on moss on trees, but she's pretty sure she's heading north, and then she's also pretty sure that they're going to get pursued after they see the dead guard and the map missing and a couple horses and a couple swords and some bread and some cheese and some anything else I missed.
Oh, and she killed the guard by dropping her coin and slitting his throat. And
yeah, pretty dope part. I guess if you imagine you read the second book and then you had to wait 18 years for George to put out the third one. You're like, oh shit,
yeah, sure.
But
yeah, we talked about this the last time. Yeah,
I think the first 3 came out pretty quick though, only 3 years.
Yeah, but still. You got a point, Joe.
You still had a year to wait. It's like waiting for Harry Potter.
I have a tough time month to month on chapters, man.
Yeah.
The cool thing I think here, at one point she says like, yeah, they're gonna be missing the boy and the apprentice boy, the baker's boy, and the apprentice smith, and a person named Nan or Weasel or Ari, depending on who you ask.
Who you talk to.
She's already had all these different aliases. Yeah.
Yeah.
She also then mentions who would be after her, whether it would be the Northmen or if it would be the bold
Mummers.
companions, the bloody mummers,
Yeah.
whatever name they go by.
Yep. They're called the Brave Companions, but everybody mocks them and calls them the Bloody Mummers. Yeah.
Brave companions.
Or the other name she mentions is Steel Shanks, who just seems to be like Roos's right hand man.
Yeah. So she's afraid if she gets caught, she'll either get her skin flayed by the Boltons or her feet cut off by the bloody mummers.
Yep.
Or both.
Or both, which would be bad.
She was still dressed with her Bolton sigil on, though.
Smart or stupid?
Both.
Neither yet, I guess. Neither and both yet. Yeah, at some point it would probably matter, but yeah. I guess when you're close to the play, well, you're still in like the area controlled by the Boltons, it's probably like pretty neutral.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like if she comes across the Bolton men, she's like, all right, these are the three people we're missing. If it's like a commoner and be like, oh no, I'm with the Boltons, you see my sigil, like we'll come back and burn you down if
exactly. But after enough time passes and like if word gets out that like, oh, we're after this again, I don't know if like they're important enough to have like get word out, but so they keep going. They find a stream, and Arya goes the whole walk in the stream for a while to throw them off. Right, so get off the road, walk in the stream to throw off the scent, and then get out. It just reminds me of the Theon chapter, right? Theon was like hunting for Bran.
As I said, where they thought Bran did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they did that in the stream, but it was like frozen. Like nobody could run the stream for this long because they saw him go in, but never saw him come out. Yeah.
Yeah, and she also mentions that death is on the road, so not to stay. Yeah, stay to the road. I don't know. I don't remember. I guess from the walk from King's Landing with Yoren, they saw a bunch of dying or dead people, right, that were trying to get south.
When they went on that side road, didn't they?
I think as soon as the people came after Gendry and they're like, hey, we're looking for like the bastard boy, and Yoren's like, get out of here. Like, we're gonna be back. And then I think after that they're like, yeah, we should get off the King's Road. And that's like when they took a weird path to get to get to the north, and then rip Yoren.
So she's really leading this charge. No one's really questioning her. Hot-Eye because he's scared. Gendry just because I don't think he knows shit other than banging a hammer.
Yeah, Hot-Eye's scared of her because he saw her kill that guy.
Yeah, I mean she pulled out Assassin's Creed move on this guy.
Yeah, so it's right here. So next thing she says is like she should have been frightened too. She was only 10 years old, a little girl, and for some reason she was calmer than she ever was in Harrenhal. Read that quote.
Yet somehow she felt calmer than she ever had in Harrenhal. The rain had washed the guard's blood off her fingers. She wore a sword across her back. Wolves were prowling through the dark like lean gray shadows, and Arya Stark was unafraid. Fear cuts deeper than swords, she whispered under her breath. The words that Syrio Forel had taught her, and Jaqen's words too. Valar Morghulis.
Yeah. The reason I think that's cool is because she says, and it comes back at the very end of the chapter, kind of. She said right in there, the rain had washed the guard's blood off her fingers. And I was like, wait, that sounds familiar. The very end of the last Arya chapter. You killed him, Hot-Pie gasped. What did you think I would do? Her fingers were sticky with blood, and the smell was making her mare skittish. It's no matter, she thought, swinging up into the saddle. The rain will wash them clean again. So here, she's like, the rain washed my hands clean. I got my sword, and the wolves are out there, which at this part, like on a first read, you're like, the wolves is like the unsettling part. Like that shouldn't make you more calm. But at the end of the chapter,
I feel like you should know by now.
Yeah.
I feel like I can say that.
Weren't the wolves howling at the end of the last, when she killed him? Weren't the wolves singing a song or whatever they said?
She could hear in the last couple chapters, I think, the wolves outside of the Harrenhal walls. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to say about the wolves, Kyle? You just wanted to...
I mean, all I was saying was that you should know whose side the wolves were on at this point, I think. You should have known before now.
That Arya has like a little connection.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think this wolf pack was ever a threat, to be honest.
Yeah. So we actually come up on some wolves here next, and it's three wolves feasting on something. I don't even know what they're eating.
Yeah.
Say a deer, anything?
Fawn. I think even before that, just real quick, I think like even I'm saying like way before, on their way to Harrenhal with Yoren, I think there's a part like where like Arya goes off to pee because she like has to pee at nighttime, so no one knows who she is, right? But there's like a sentry up because there's actual wolves howling, and she goes out and like wolves actually come up and like stare at her and just like go away, like while she's peeing, right? So just like she's had like a bunch of like weird like wolf incidents before.
Yeah, and I mean just family history as well.
Yeah.
So 3 wolves are feasting. Hot Pie's horse gets skittish and runs off.
Yeah.
He's holding on for dear life. One wolf stays, right, and is ready to defend it. Gendry, I think, is about to go kill it, and I think Arya's like, nope, just let it go.
And I'm thinking like this is like probably dumb. Like you should probably try and scare that wolf away and take that thing. Like
if you need meat,
Hot Pie's gonna eat all your food. Like you're gonna be out of food in a day. Hot Pie took like a couple loaves of bread and some cheese, and Hot Pie's like falling asleep with cheese in his hand. Like he's not rationing.
Yeah. He didn't take the one thing that is known to keep someone alive, which is honey.
Yeah.
You guys I mean, cheese and bread's pretty good.
Nah.
Honey's like a magic potion, basically.
That's what you guys think. It's
if
just
you have
like
honey, you can survive anything.
liquid nutrients. You're just satisfied.
Pretty much.
You put me anywhere with a jar of honey, and I'm making it out alive.
That's on your desert island list, Jeff.
Yeah. Give me a TV, Big Daddy, and a jar of honey.
I can wipe my own ass.
I wipe my own ass.
All right, so they go wide around the wolf. Once it's out of their sight, Arya goes off and finds Hot Pie. And then the next thing they come across is this burned village with the bones of a dozen dead men hanging from rotten apple trees. And Hot Pie starts to do a pray to the mother for mercy at the sight of them, and Arya does a little pray to, or just her weird
just
pray.
her list. I guess it's a prayer. It's her list of names.
She's reading her list the whole time, pretty much.
So it's weird. I went to put this in like out in my notes when I put it in like Arya's note. She's like, let's see what the hell it's updated. So the first time she's ever like did her list, it was very similar to this, except I think we're just missing people. Chiswick is gone. So Chiswick is her first name that she used. The guy
some people died.
Yeah, the name she used her Jackin names on Chiswick, and then the second one, who's gone is Sir Amory. She didn't use a name on him, but I think he just got fed to the bears when, because he was a Lannister man. So when Roose took over the castle, he got fed to the bear that was there.
Her name led to it, but yeah.
Yeah. So those two are gone. But right now, what's her list? And there's no one new.
Sir Gregor, Dunson, Polliver, Raff the Sweetling, the Tickler, and the Hound, Sir Ilan, Sir Meryn, King Joffrey, Queen Cersei.
Yep.
Do we know if any of these people are dead? Or any of these? Yeah, Meryn's dead, isn't he? Isn't he the one that was fighting with Tyrion? Who fought with Tyrion?
Mandon.
Ah, damn it.
Meryn was fighting with him earlier in the battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I believe Meryn took Joffrey back.
Meryn was there Meryn took Joffrey to the trebuchet, I think.
Okay.
So she grabs an apple like a complete psycho.
Yeah, from the tree with these dead
between some corpses.
Yeah.
That's a psycho move from the girl.
It has worms in it, and she just
eats the worm.
They've been eating worms, though, man.
She has.
I thought it was weird at first, but they ate worms a while ago.
Yeah, I guess that's not too bad. But
yeah, her
just like casually saying a list of names that she plans on killing,
yeah.
grabbing an apple from the corpse tree and just biting into it, like not like grabbing a sack of them, like just nope, I'll chew on this thing.
Yeah,
I don't know, psycho move from her.
It's like something Jorg would do from Prince of Thorns. Anyone who knows that book.
And so they end up sitting down. I don't know how long after, but they sit down and eat breakfast, right?
They have the North conversation. Oh yeah, they eat breakfast.
Or the sun doesn't rise, right? It's a cloudy day, but they know it's morning.
A day without a dawn is what Arya says.
Yeah.
The sky just lightened around them. Yeah. And then
Gendry's like, where the fuck are we going? Like, what's our plan? Are we even heading in the right direction here?
North, Arya says.
She lays it out.
This is when she goes into the moss.
Yep.
She's like, moss grows on the south. We're going the other way, north, to the Trident. And then once we find that, we're going to follow it to River Run because we'll be safe in River Run. Yep. Well, she also gives away that she can read here, too. I didn't want to skip over that.
And Hot Pie's like, holy shit, you're like magic. Like, how the fuck can you read?
How about Hot Pie having a pretty smart deal? Like, what do you mean, north? You haven't even seen the sunrise yet. And it just brings me back to an argument with Nelson in Minecraft when the sun clearly
Minecraft sun
clearly
and
rise.
trying to figure out direction in Minecraft is the
It's not true.
worst ever.
There's a clear rising destination and a clear setting destination. So when I say north, it's obviously north. Like it's just I don't know.
swear to God, for a while there was a thing where like the sun in Minecraft rose in the south or something like that, and you would always go by the sun, and we would just always go in the wrong direction. And they probably have fixed it by now, so if you Google it, Jeff will look right. But I swear to God, at one point, we went like so far out of the way because we were following the sun.
There's no compass, right? So
there is a compass, and you're like, we don't need to. Why would we ever need to craft a compass? Like it's just a waste of iron. Blah 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 blah. We can just follow the sun. And I'm like, I don't know.
If we collectively agree that the sun rises in the east, that's all we needed.
I think it definitely does now, but. Or we are just being dumb.
What if moss grows on the south of the trees instead of the north?
They need moss in Minecraft is the thing. And maybe I haven't played Minecraft in a while. Maybe they have added moss.
From the original house that you built to the project that we're building now, what direction is our project?
I have no idea what the cardinal direction is. No idea what the cardinal direction is.
It's northwest. Maybe even north by northwest.
Anyway.
You're right. Now that I think
you
about
guys
it.
Are way too
you go right over the corner of the map there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Popeye, at this point, we realize that he still doesn't know who she actually is.
Yeah.
Gendry does, but Gendry, she's not worried about Gendry blabbing because he has his own secret. But he doesn't. He doesn't even know who the fuck he is yet, right?
No.
She says that. She says he has his own secret, but even if he doesn't know it.
But he's afraid as well. Like he knows that he's
wanted. At least he's wanted.
Yeah.
But like my point was he doesn't actually have a secret because he doesn't actually know. Didn't they like call out anybody who has the bull horn helmet boy? Give him to us.
Yeah, so his secret is that he was wanted. Yeah,
so Popeye was there.
Secret.
Everyone was there. Yeah, everyone was there. Like,
yeah, I gotcha. You're saying that Popeye doesn't know, or Arya doesn't know anything extra about Gendry than Popeye does.
Not that it seems.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
I think she meant like Gendry with other people, not Popeye.
Okay, that's true.
Like Gendry has a secret that he's trying to hide for sure as well.
But here she is talking about like Popeye knowing her secret. And Popeye, so to Jeff's point, like it doesn't make sense because Popeye does know Gendry's secret. But
then she's talking about Gendry and how it's different with Gendry. She's not afraid of Gendry telling everybody because Gendry has his own secret that he's not going to tell everybody.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Because
like, hey, people are after me too.
Because if Popeye told somebody, she couldn't go around and be like, well, Popeye. But if Gendry told someone, she could be like, well, Gendry. But she doesn't know what the Gendry thing is anyway. So she can't go, Gendry.
I mean, I guess she knows that people are looking for her. Be like, hey, well, the queen wants this person, so you can go win favor with her.
But I don't think the relationship's like that either. I don't think either of them would squeal on each other at this point.
But that's the implication here, right? To what you're saying?
I'm just saying it goes beyond this whole having a secret on each other.
Well, either way, they continue on through the hills. Arya, being the best rider, sometimes double backs to screw up her tracks. Just I guess, pretty smart play. At some point, you're going to see a line going back straight, but whatever. I don't know the art of covering your tracks.
She's thinking we don't stand a chance here. So like as she's doubling back, she's like, "Fuck." She's probably doing the same thing as you. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like we're
It's also wet and muddy, right? Like at some point. You already got tracks. It's wet and muddy. You're walking riverside.
They're off road.
Yeah.
She says there's roots and stuff and leaves.
It's gotta be rough.
Off road. These guys don't know how to ride. They've never ridden before.
They probably have hunters, right, that know how to track a little bit better than here's a random. Yeah. I don't know.
So it's really hilly too. She mentions, and at one point she gets to the crest of the hill, and behind her she sees some dark shapes crossing a stream. She thinks like, oh fuck, it's Roose Bolton's men. But it turns out after she looks for a minute that it's only just a pack of wolves. So he does the old Bran Stark when he was howls at him. Yeah. And the biggest one howls back. So, I mean, we never get any confirmation of this, right? But is this Nymeria? That'd be badass, probably.
That would be cool. Right? I don't know. Yeah. It's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Just thought it was wolves.
It's Nymeria in my head.
I mean, yeah, I think that's what we would want.
She's out here somewhere. Or she died, but...
No, she's out here.
Badass wolf.
She turns into her at the end, right?
I mean, I guess that could just be a random wolf, but yeah.
No, why would it just be a random wolf? That would be the first time anybody just randomly turned into like a random animal.
Yeah, but
And why would it be Arya in the middle of nowhere, just like in passing?
Because she's really tired and she ate a wormy dead.
Oh, now
man apple.
she just turned into a wolf. Oh, now she's just a random snake. Oh, this time now she's a worm inside an apple.
Well, I mean, at this point, Nymeria is not much more to her than a random wolf. Yeah, sure, she spent like 6 months with the wolf.
But they're connected.
She spent those 6 months with the wolf.
It's like blood, though. No, it's like they're like a bonded pair, right? They all kind of were supposed to be.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm with you. I think in my head it's cooler if it's Nymeria, but I don't think it's impossible that it could be a random wolf.
Fair enough.
It doesn't matter.
Is it possible that it's a child of Nymeria? Has the web grown?
I'm gonna say no.
Or she just
I don't know how
adopted a
long
pack?
that takes for wolves, but I think it's it
Has
hasn't
it
been that long.
Has it
the
been
whole
more
story's
than a
only
year?
been like the whole story hasn't been 2 years yet.
I feel like I don't know I would assume that
Timeline doesn't matter.
Timeline doesn't matter. I would assume a wolf can start breeding after a year. I don't know. All right, she's worried about these two and their ability to ride. They're like, oh my god.
Well, Hotpie starts complaining.
Yeah, his arse is sore. He's got blisters. Gendry is struggling too, but he's too stubborn to say anything. He's fallen. I know he's fallen once. I think it was earlier.
It's been a year and 6 months.
And she's worried she put the two of them in danger. Like, they didn't have to leave, which...
Well, and she's also like, this is why I can't leave them. Like, I'm kind of responsible for them. They're here for me. I need to be here for them.
Yeah. This is also funny, like, they're... sorry, I was looking at the timeline for a second. You guys probably might have said this. When Hotpie is, like, begging for sleep, and they just kind of, like, ignore him. He's like, I need to sleep. I'm going to fall off my horse. And they just don't acknowledge it. And they're like... And Arya just like, who do you think would get him first? The mummers or the wolves?
I think that's
and
coming
Gendry's like, it's right here.
No,
right?
we come up to
after
the river. We come up to the river first, and we check them. We do a little map checking.
I thought it was after she.
No, they check the river first. I take my notes while I read, so I know you do too. But she worried she would put the two in danger. They come out to a river. They check the map to see where they are. They're unsure with all the little rivers. Gendry wants to make sure. Arya wants to cross and continue north. Blah, 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 blah. Went on some more, then stopped to rest the horses. Hotpie wants a fire. In unison, they say no.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Before that.
Yeah, it's right here, Nelson.
And then it keeps going. Hotpie wants to sleep. Arya makes them push on, but falls asleep in her saddle.
No, Nelson's right.
No, there's a different part.
There's two parts.
They're like when they're fucking with Hotpie. You're right.
Okay.
They're fucking with Hotpie before that. Right after she does the AU.
Yep.
Hotpie's like, guys, really, we need to sleep. I'm about to fall off my horse. I'm so tired. And Gendry or Arya doesn't acknowledge it, but like looks at Gendry. He's like, when he falls off his horse, who do you think is going to get him first? The wolves or the mummers?
I remember.
And
they
Gendry's like,
scare
the
him.
wolves, they have better noses.
They scare him into riding some more.
Yeah, and it says, Hotpie opened his mouth and closed it. He did not fall off his horse. Just a stupid little thing by Hotpie.
Well, I mean, it just shows that he's trying to.
He doesn't want to die.
He's scared.
So this gave me there was also a line in there that gave me like a little White Walker vibe. Like in my notes I have, it started to rain, it gets colder, and there was like a fog that started to form like around the base of all the trees.
Yeah.
And like obviously there's no White Walkers about to show up in the middle of the Riverlands, but it just seems kind of like, ooh. That could be in the prologue chapter with Chet.
That's fair. That's a good parallel.
Yeah, I mean every time it's gotten randomly colder around, shit's happened.
Yeah.
So they come up on a river. And they're unsure of which river it is. Gendry's like, what the hell are we doing? Like, oh, well, Popeye's like, this is the trident. We made it. And it's not quite big enough.
Yeah.
And Gendry's
and Arya's like,
we just have...
Arya's done this trip before, right? She came from the north from Winterfell to King's Landing. She knows it's not going to be like a day's ride. So she's like, I don't think this is the trident. We just haven't been... We haven't for like 12 hours.
We haven't gone far enough.
Yeah.
So Gendry is like, all right, like, where are we going? Let's make sure. Like, there's moss all over the place. This river bends backwards and forward. Like, you have no clue which way.
Yeah, I got a map here where I drew some potential little willows, big willows, and what's the other one called? Ridgeback Rill? Riverback Rill? Ripple Down Rill.
Are you asking or telling?
Ripple Down Rill, yep.
So I'm guessing there potentially is something like this, where they got these rivers. Basically, they're looking at the map. Gendry says, look at this. It could be any of these rivers, but the Little Willow it's probably that one that flows into the Big Willow, and that flows into the Trident. That's downstream. So if we follow this downstream till it gets to the Trident, then we follow the Trident upstream, we're golden. But they're like, fuck, but what if it's not the Little Willow? What if it's Ripple Down Rill? If we follow that downstream, we're just back to the faces to the God's Eye, to the lake near Harrenhal.
Yeah,
we're fucked.
We're going the wrong fucking way. That's what that would mean.
And even on the map, it'd probably be actually, from what they're seeing, closer to it, right at Harrenhal, from what Gendry's saying, I think. But yeah, like that, I think that's the idea. Plus, they mentioned like 3 or 4 other rivers. We know it's called the Riverlands, so there's probably just like a ton of rivers, like little rivers everywhere that we don't see on this like actual map, this big map.
You know what's crazy is if they actually had a proper heading, they could cut a lot of travel off their path.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just go due east, right? Just
I look maybe like west,
due west,
northwest,
setting sun.
But yeah, get to the sun. Yeah, come on, Arya. You go to school for this with Septim Mordane.
That's the whole point. Like they say they can't see the sun today, right? It was the day without a dawn. Right?
Yeah,
it was so like gloomy out that they couldn't see the sun.
She decides to cross without them. Like, whatever. I'm crossing this river. You can come with if you want. And she goes.
Yeah. So she says the way to figure out what to do is just go north. Then we don't have to worry about what river it is. We just go through all the rivers. Eventually, we'll know when we get to the Trident. It's fucking huge. Then we're good. Just don't go up or down. Fuck you guys. They argue with her. She's like, yeah, I'm going on myself. Then catch up.
Yep. And they do.
Now is when they get to what Jeff was talking about earlier, where she starts falling asleep.
Well, they stopped the rest of the horses a little bit. Hop Eye wants to fire. They're like, no. Her and Gendry say it together. Makes her think of her favorite brother, Johnny Boy.
Jon Snow.
And Hop Eye wants to sleep.
Like I said, I feel that the secrets they have on each other aren't the only thing that's going to stop them from blabbing on each other.
Yeah, they got a little connection there. Parallel to John.
So Hop Eye wants to sleep. And they're like, nope, we got to push on. Ends up making her fall asleep.
Yeah.
It didn't make her fall asleep. She just, well, the horse did. Yeah.
I'm saying she just gets tired and.
Yeah, and it's like rocking her back and forth and puts her to bed.
At one point, she thinks if she falls asleep, she'll wake up in Vargahote, Shagwell, Urswick, Rourke, Biter, and Septon Ut will be there. Again, just kind of like one of those little recap things. Here's all the members of the bad team. Surprisingly, none of these guys are the ones that actually like chase her down at the end. It's a bunch of like ones she doesn't recognize and one guy, Igo, who she does. But none of these guys are actually the ones that chase her down.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Like, why send out your best men after some kids?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know who these kids are. There's no real major threat.
Yeah, they just stole a couple horses pretty much. So yeah, she falls asleep. Her eyes, like, she notices her eyes snap shut one time. And like, we've all been there, right? Where you're like trying to stay awake in some situation, just like super boring. Just like,
class.
And you like catch yourself. Yeah. Yeah. And she thinks like the second time she didn't catch herself as fast. And basically Gendry wakes her up saying her horse had gone in circles and started grazing. Hot Pie had literally ridden into a limb and fallen off and yelled, and it didn't wake her up. So he's like, "You got to go to sleep. Like we got." And
he just cuddled up on a trunk, didn't he? He just like
she's like, "You got to go to sleep," and they're arguing back and forth. Her and Gendry like, "I don't need to go to sleep. I can stay awake as long as you." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to sleep. You can do whatever you want if you want to ride on by yourself, but you're just going to fall asleep in your saddle again, and then I'm not going to be there to wake you up, and I'm staying here." So she's like, "Well, what about Hot Pie then?" And he's like, Hot Pie's already asleep. So yeah, he's like curled up with cheese in his hand.
Yeah, and she was like, "All right, I guess they have to sleep too. The people tracking us will have to go to sleep." So
yeah,
Gendry takes first watch. She gets ready for bed with her sword and says her names one more time.
Well, she only gets like 30 or 40%. I don't know.
Only says a couple words.
She ends up on the Hound and just says the tickler twice and then the Hound. Yeah, like she just passes out. That's how tired she is.
Yeah,
but I think her being so tired kind of helped allow for this dream to take over, right?
I think so too.
So question, would the dream have happened without her taking over? I mean, like,
without her being super tired?
Yeah, like
there's also, I feel like there's like the necessity of it. Like, are they fucked if this doesn't happen? Like, they might be totally fucked if this doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And like, there's like something just like, I don't know. There's just like
the moment that I've been calling is finally here.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, you want to read the dream?
Sure. Her dreams were red and savage. The mummers were in them. 4 at least, a pale Iceni and a dark, brutal axeman from Ib, the scarred Dothraki horse lord called Igo, and a Dornishman whose name she never knew. On and on they came, riding through the rain in rusting mail and wet leather, swords and axe clanking against their saddles. They thought they were hunting her. She knew with all the strange, sharp certainty of dreams, but they were wrong. She was hunting them. She was no little girl in the dream. She was a wolf, huge and powerful, and when she emerged from beneath the trees in front of them and bared her teeth in a low rumbling growl, she could smell the rank stench of fear from horse and man alike. The Lyseni's mount reared and screamed in terror, and the others shouted at one another in man talk. But before they could act, the other wolves came hurtling from the darkness and the rain, a great pack of them, gaunt and wet and silent. The fight was short but bloody. The hairy man went down as he unslung his axe. The dark one died stringing an arrow, and the pale man from Lace tried the bolt. Her brothers and sisters ran him down, turning him again and again, coming at him from all sides, snapping at the legs of his horse, and tearing the throat from the rider when he came crashing to the earth. Only the belled man stood his ground. His horse kicked in the head of one of her sisters, and he cut another almost in half with his curved silvery claw as his hair tinkled softly. Filled with rage, she leapt onto his back, knocking him headfirst from his saddle. Her jaws locked on his arm as they fell, her teeth sinking through the leather and wool and soft flesh. When they landed, she gave a savage jerk with her head and ripped the limb loose from his shoulder. Exulting, she shook it back and forth in her mouth, scattering the warm red droplets amidst the cold black rain.
Yep.
More fucked up stuff, huh, Jeff? You were talking about her eating that apple. Now here she is ripping off arms and just shaking them around for the fuck of it.
Just toying with this guy's left arm.
I mean, Eagle goes out like a badass, and I feel like the rain thing again. Like her hands wash. She washed the last chapter was the rain will wash the blood off my hands, right? And then she mentions that again here, and then here it's like the warm red droplets mixed with the cold black rain. I don't know. There's just like a rain blood theme going on in this chapter. Last 2 Arya chapters.
Yeah, there's a lot of rain and blood for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, and Igo goes out like a badass. His horse kills a wolf, kills another wolf. Like,
yeah, good for him. I mean, you expect anything
well,
like
it's a Dothraki, right?
He's the only one that stands his ground. Yeah, kind of badass.
You know, a question I have, Nels, for you, and I don't know the answer. How does this Dothraki guy get across the narrow sea?
So they're like a sellsword company. The Brave Companions are like a sellsword company, so they bought him.
Sure, but if he's a Dothraki guy, shouldn't he be deathly afraid of the sea?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they're not all.
I guess one of the few.
But
they gave him some milk of the poppy, just knocked him out, and then shipped him over.
Like I said, he also has bells, which doesn't that imply that he killed other Dothrakis? So like,
or just won battles?
I think the bells just mean like your braid has been long enough, it gets long enough that you can put bells in it. Until you've lost in a battle and you have to cut it off. I think how that works.
So he's putting them on here in Westeros, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's been wearing as long as his hair keeps growing, he can put on more belts.
I follow.
I think that's how it works. Yeah.
So Kyle, how do you think Arya reacts to this dream when she wakes up?
I don't know if she's gonna believe it. I didn't actually think about that. I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna know that it actually happened. I think they're just gonna push on. I think it's going to happen again, kind of like with Bran, you know, where
builds up. I actually don't remember, so
that's my guess. Is like it's not going to be an instant like, oh my god, I did that. Like, I don't know why anybody would think that.
Yeah.
If she did, she'd be like, okay, let's go back to sleep. Hop high. You stay there. And when we go back to sleep,
you're saying she's going to turn into Bran, where she just sleeps for like a week.
I mean, maybe that's what happened to Bran basically when he learned how to control it.
Because she likes being in the dreams more than alive.
They don't have honey to put on her lips to keep her healthy.
Yeah, Popeye's not.
Jamming bread in her mouth.
All right. So what's next? They wake up and continue what they think is northward.
Hopefully, it's northward. Yeah, I mean, I think that like Nelson kind of hinted at it earlier. I think they're going to run into Jaime at some point, but I don't know if they're going to know that it's him.
He's changed his appearance.
Yeah, and they don't even know he's missing. Like they're missing out on a lot of information that would even let them think that it was him.
Right. Have no clue who Brienne is.
Brienne, I mean, like Jeff always says, there's no photo ID, but Brienne, hopefully would be in her mind, be like on the lookout for an Arya type little girl or a Sansa like little girl.
Does Arya look like a 10-year-old boy with her haircut? And just
no one ever Arya always looks like a boy. No one ever thinks Arya looks like
nowhere near where she should be found. There's no way that this is like anything.
Yeah. She's expecting Arya to be at King's Landing. Like she's not looking
or dead. I think most people just assume she's dead, right? I think even Kat said that to Brienne.
I think the bad thing, we had kind of this debate earlier. That would be a bad time for her to have the cloak on that had the flayed man, the Bolton's sigil.
Yeah,
because Brienne is like, I know I need to be wary of them. So
yeah, because Brienne might chop them down.
Yeah,
I don't think Brienne would kill children though. For the record,
prisoner.
She's been a pretty good, not real knight, but knightish.
No, we said she lives by the actual knight's tenets more than they do. No, or I said that last week at least.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next chapter is Tyrion, so
we don't find out, and he's not dead.
Not right away.
We know that much.
Tyrion is still alive. Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. All right. Well.
We'll see what happens in the next one.
Bye, Kyle.
We'll see Kyle in the next one. We'll see the rest of you guys in the spoiler section. Bye, Kyle.
Bye.
Later, nerds.
Happy New Year's.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you later, Kyle.
Bye,
Thanks for hanging out with us. Now, on the spoiler section for Arya 1. Jeff, any hot takes?
All right, so there's one big elephant in the room, and that is the day without a dawn.
Yeah, so I said that. Did you see that before I said that?
Yes, I had it down. So I'm just trying to think of what that means, and the only thing I can think of is that there's no Dane currently with them.
I wonder if it's like some type of foreshadowing.
Like, is there a chance that Gendry was a Dane? Is there any chance that...
No.
He doesn't look like a Dane. He's got no features of a Dane.
He says his mother had golden hair, but that's not really Danes we think of kind of having either.
All right, what do you think? What is this?
I don't really know. I think maybe this chapter, once like Winds of Winter or something like that comes out, will be like a really big foreshadowy thing, because it just like seems weird. Like, why are there like 12 men hanging and 3 wolves guarding a body? Like, I don't know. Maybe at some other point Arya will have a chapter when when the long night is happening and she comes across, I don't know, 12 others, or you know what I mean. So that's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, maybe
like that.
I just don't see how they're gonna pull this chapter in.
Well, again, the only reason I'm thinking that is because there was that one line I said where it kind of gave me the others vibe. It's like, hey, cold came and the fog came and rain came all at the same time. Besides that, the dawn line is the only thing that makes me think that.
I mean, I have a couple. I have one other. Oh, well, I just want,
because it makes me think. When I think dawn, I think long night.
Like her grabbing the apple is a psycho.
Well, that has me thinking worms, right? She eats worms in the last book. Wormy apple.
Yeah.
When she gets to the House of the Undying,
right?
It's different than it is in the show. It's not like it's not Jaqen she meets. It's like she calls him a kindly old man. The worm
in the guy's eye, right?
Yeah, and he switches his face and becomes like a skull with like a worm sticking out of his eye. I think like a white worm, and she grabs it and eats it. And he's like, no one has tried to eat my worm before.
Just another psycho play.
So I think that's like the whole. That's what I think the point of this apple is.
She's
like,
not
she eats
afraid
worms.
to eat worms.
Yeah, she's like, she'll go there. She's like,
well, yeah. I mean, it definitely. The chapter is foreshadowing of her becoming even more of a psycho and becoming this kind of cold-blooded killer.
I don't think they do it anymore, but like, I feel like for our parents, didn't like worms used to come in tequila bottles?
Yeah.
Do they still do that in like fancy tequilas?
Yeah.
Still do that? I've never had a tequila. I've never seen. I don't like tequila, but I've never seen tequila with a worm.
I don't know if it's like an actual. I guess it like.
But that's what I think of when I hear eat the worm.
I think you can even find them in like non-fancy bottles too, but I think they taste like shit.
But like people say like eat the worm, and that means
I think it's good luck or something like that.
Or it gets you really fucked up because it's like super. I think a lot of the alcohol goes in. For some reason, a lot of the alcohol gets sucked into the worm.
Well, yeah, it's a porous thing that it's like putting fruit in jungle juice. You go to eat the fruit then. It's the same concept.
Yeah, but worms are not fruit.
I wouldn't eat the worm for sure.
But I don't know if that's play on that at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Maybe George likes tequila, but yeah, the day without the dawn is definitely the biggest thing. And it also, in the same kind of breath or paragraph, she thinks of John.
Yeah, again, like,
And she calls him her favorite brother, which I wrote in quotations like not his brother.
cousin.
Maybe.
R plus L equals J would be cousin. Shara would still be cousin if it was Brandon or Ned. Well, Ned, it would be half brother.
Half brother. Actually, Ned's bastard would make him a half brother.
Yeah.
Just curious.
But it could be Brandon. Again, I think maybe it's one of the things like we don't know yet because we haven't got the Winds of Winter chapter where Arya has some long night adventure where maybe she thinks there's no hope, and then John shows up with the sword. It started the day without a dawn, and then John shows up later. Again, I don't know. Maybe some parallels from a future book.
So Day Without a Dawn. This is a long day. It's the long night, right?
Because John's going to be involved in the long night somehow, in some way, shape, or form. John will be there whenever what happens with the others happens in the series.
So this day is, you're saying, a foreshadow to the long night because it's the day without a dawn. Yeah,
maybe like one of the days where Arya's there doing some shit in the long night before John shows up with Dawn. If that's what's going to happen, right? John somehow finds Dawn, shows up and saves the day.
She's using Needle, thinks of John.
She's at Winterfell.
She asks Gendry to make her
exactly. Maybe Gendry is
staff.
there. Maybe Hot Pie's maybe Hot Pie's there. Somehow Hot Pie comes back from the inn. They're all in Winterfell. And who knows? I think there's some foreshadowing here. Like, it's what, again, George always says he's the gardener, not an architect. I think he's planting some seeds here. Yeah. Maybe the wolves, the 3 wolves thing doesn't matter. Right? Maybe the 12 dead men thing doesn't matter. But maybe one of them will matter. So or after Winds of Winter, we'll be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, if we reread this chapter after we've read Winds of Winter, one of those things will be like, oh, look at that.
So the one weird thing about the 3 wolves is obviously that one stays, right? And Arya is the only one that continues on from this. Like, we lose Hot Pie at the end. Gendry does whatever with the Band of Brotherhood. And
that's a good point.
And she's the only one that continues on.
That's a cool point. That could be like some symbolism for, because she even says at one point in this chapter, these guys are my pack now.
Right.
Because she says, like, they're slowing me down. And it's like, why the fuck are they here? And it's like, and she even thinks it to herself, like, I brought them. Like, I'm the reason they're here. Like, they wouldn't be here if I didn't tell Gendry, like, hey, go get Hot Pie and come out. But now she's like, fuck, why did I bring them? They're slowing me down and everything. And her conclusion of like why I brought them is they're the only people I have left. Right. Like, I don't have any other friends. All my other family's dead.
And she's been taught.
Only people I'm connected. I have any connection with.
She's been taught that the pack survives.
Yep, exactly. She kind of gets off that for a while in the next book or two, but I have a feeling it'll start coming back in Winds of Winter. So the last thing is like warg stuff, like badass.
Yeah, I mean, definitely cool.
But I don't know what to talk about. That, like, I mean, Kyle was.
I'm just curious to see, and you might know this. Like her next chapter, does she wake up and be like, "Oh my god, I was a wolf," or does she wake up and be like, "What? Why do I taste blood in my mouth?" Or does she have any recollection?
I think Kyle's right. I don't think she puts it together right away. I think once she gets to Bravo, she starts kind of realizing there's something weird, and she can she can see while she's blind. I think is when she starts realizing, okay, there's something weird going on here. But I think at this point, Kyle's right, and she thinks it's just like a weird dream that she had about like people she knew back at Harrenhal type thing.
Right.
But I don't have that much, so short one.
Good point. No, there's no meat on these bones yet for the chapter, so.
Next one will be a long one. Tyrion, again, kind of wakes up, meets with Bronn, meets with Daddy, and he says, I think it's the chapter where he says, I want Castle Rock, give me my rights. And they have that. There's a little conflict there with Tywin and Tyrion. So, I mean,
cool. I'm excited.
You gotta love some dialogue with Tywin. He's just a badass anytime
he's a warrior with his words for sure, so.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening. Is coming. Subscribe, like. Remember, we're on any podcasting platform you listen on, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. So
iHeartRadio.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Probably. So check us out there. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.